This Monero Matteo video is sponsored by Cake Wallet. Safely store, send, receive, and trade your Monero on Cake Wallet on Android and iOS. All right, what's up, bros? Monero Matteo, welcome back. Good to be with you guys today. Yes. I've heard the news. I've heard that Canada is kind of going the way that George Carlin anticipated that it would go. You know, George Carlin, he said about fascism, he said, when it comes to your door, it's not going to come with jackboots and weird salutes. It's going to come with, smiley face t-shirts and big happy faces. And, everyone's gay and prideful and things like this. Maybe he meant it in a different way back in the 90s. Things change. But things are getting interesting. They're getting very interesting. But everything's going according to schedule, guys, and we have no reason to be concerned about what's going on. It's just the invariable progression of how things have been going, where they are going to go. And does that mean Monero is going to go hyper mega bullish? We would hope so, but frankly, the fact that it hasn't yet, to me, is a little bit of a shocker. But I think the PR on the behalf of the Bitcoin bros is quite good. The fact that they can continue to tell people how private this stuff is, and the fact that they can continue to offer Bitcoin as a solution to surveillance issues and to regulatory KYC issues in the face of it being pretty much taken over by KYC and, competitive coins like Monero obviously getting more use case in a world that we're going into. It's incredible. But that's why we're here. That's why we're trying to continue to inform the public as to what's going on. And I see more and more Monero bros and the Monero Bro Battalion stepping up to do great work out there. There was the talk about a 50% attack happening on Monero recently because a particular mining pool had gotten over 51%. That's interesting. I'm not a miner, bro. I leave that up to the miners. But that was a concern, and somebody had actually sold a lot of their Monero, I guess, to buy hash power for another pool. And since then, as well as the efforts of many other people, the percentage of the main pool that was over 51% is now down to like 35. So, yeah, I mean, the Monero community is very strong when it comes to any kind of pressure which is put against it, which is why you have ever more reasons to get involved with this stuff. So let's just go ahead and talk about what's going on because this is quite a development, and people are freaking out about it. Are we freaking out? No, not really. Everything's just happening as it should, happening as you would otherwise anticipate. And here's this woman who wants to tell you that she is going to be, with the full faith and power of the Canadian government, pretty much shutting down your bank account if they suspect you of something. Not if you're convicted of something, but if you're suspected of terrorist financing. And we've talked a little bit about terrorist financing and how that relates to crypto with OFAC. It turns out that I think more people are waking up to this OFAC problem. And we've talked about that in different videos, but Kyle Bass had made a note about OFAC recently in one of his Twitter posts about crypto and about Bitcoin. He's like, yeah, I think you crypto people should pay more attention to what OFAC is and what is going on with that, because that looks like it's going to be significant here coming up. And this, I think, compounds that statement. So basically, Canada's Deputy Prime Minister says that as part of the Emergencies Act, they're broadening Canada's terrorist financing rules so that they cover crowdfunding platforms and cryptocurrencies to the Canadian Freedom Convoy. So, yeah, let's listen to what she has to say.
We are announcing the following immediate actions. First, we are broadening the scope of Canada's anti-money laundering and terrorist financing rules so that they cover crowdfunding platforms and the payment service providers they use. These changes cover all forms of transactions, including digital assets, such as cryptocurrencies.
So, it's interesting. She just said, yeah, we're going to crack down on cryptos. That's basically what she just said. And I see so many of the Bitcoin bros going out there and they're like, this is exactly what Bitcoin is made for. And it's like, okay, well, what's the response to this? We'll get to that. But it's interesting, right? I mean, we, the Monero bros, we obviously know where our position is in regards to this. But it seems increasingly the Bitcoin bros are actually relying on politics and the regulatory state in order to justify their crypto, in order to make their crypto have value. And this puts a little bit of a roadblock in that because of Bitcoin's transparency. Look, if they ban this stuff or they heavily regulate it, you got to go along with what they want, because if they see you not following the law, which they can because they're able to link your address to your identity rather easily with this stuff, well, then you're going to have a problem, right? You don't have that problem with Monero.
The illegal blockades have highlighted the fact that crowdfunding platforms and some of the payment service providers they use are not fully captured under the Proceeds of Crime and Terrorist Financing Act. Our banks and financial institutions are already obligated to report to the Financial Transactions and Reports Analysis Centre of Canada, or FINTRAC. As of today, all crowdfunding platforms and the payment service providers they use must register with FINTRAC, and they must report large and suspicious transactions to FINTRAC.
Yeah, so this isn't just an Emergencies Act. It sounds like they're broadening indefinitely the government capacities to regulate this stuff and to crack down on financing activity. And so this is what happens with every crisis, which is why we're sort of in this interesting setup. And this is why you can anticipate this stuff to continue, because as the crackdown continues generally, in regards to the growth of tyranny and the dystopian technocratic state, as more people protest this stuff, as more people get out there to try to fight against it, there are invariably going to be more confrontations. There are going to be more domestic crises, and more people are going to be involved with movements that become protests, that become occupations, and maybe become terrorist activities, right? In accordance with what the government perceives and defines. And so with every crisis will come more regulation, will come more tyranny, will come more crackdown. So it's just sort of like a back and forth that gets ever more friction until something just blows up. Now, I don't know when the blow up's going to happen. Sounds very fun. But that sounds like where things are going. And as the crackdown continues, again, this is why we have our positions in private cryptocurrencies. And go check out our videos on the CBDC crackdown, which is coming. This is going to play into that as well, because as we see on our lovely CBDC tracker, which we've checked out in numerous videos, Canada is on their way to the CBDC. And could you imagine... Could you imagine Canada adopting a CBDC, which literally allows them to basically shut off your money, and if you're a business, shut off your wallet to take off your capacity to accept money, not just spend it? That's coming. I mean, that's what the British talked about in their particular crypto research for their CBDC. They said that, yeah, our crypto, it may be able to have the capacity to determine what businesses are essential and which are not essential. In relation to crypto wallets, so you could just shut them on and off based on how updated their licenses are and things like this. So that's going to play into this as well. And let's see what some of the Bitcoin Bro reactions are. And I just love we've read so many reactions to so many things which have happened in the news over the last couple of weeks from Bitcoin maximalists, right? So when the Bitfinex hackers got caught, we saw self-avowed Bitcoin maximalists come out and say, I hope people understand this, but Bitcoin isn't money. Because they came out and they said Bitcoin isn't fungible, right? Which is one of the very hallmarks of something being considered money. Maybe they don't understand this, but they said, yeah, Bitcoin's got a fungibility problem, and KYC is just inevitable for Bitcoin. You're not going to get around it. Might as well just live to learn with it. And so they started to just give up and throw up their hands. But here's another Bitcoin maximalist. What does he have to say about the newest, in my opinion, bearish news for Bitcoin, which they've had a lot of in the last few weeks? He says, realizing I could be tagged as a domestic terrorista if I used KYC coin to donate to Hong Kong Coddle is pretty surreal. We're seeing more of an awakening happening, aren't we? We're seeing more people begin to understand that this is a problem for Bitcoin. It's not as bullish as some others are saying. We'll get to what some other people are saying, but one thing I want to point out, even if you think that you could coin join and mix and Lightning Network surf and do all these different things in order to make your Bitcoin more private. Why would you do that when you could do something which is trusted to be more private than even that, which is Monero? Well, why don't you just use Monero? And I made a tweet about this. I don't have it plugged up, but I said, look, dude, I'm a simple man. I have very little time on my hands. I'm not the guy to be doing research into the tomes and the towers that talk about how to use Bitcoin privately. Okay, I don't have the patience. I don't have the time. And millions of other people don't either. Okay, so what I'm going to do is if I want to have private cryptos and I don't want my transactions to be seen by other people, which should be just about everybody, but people are going to do what they do, whatever, then I'm just going to buy Monero, dude. I'm just going to go with Monero. Like, it's so no-braining easy. So, to me, this bro needs to find Monero. But because the whole social media thing, because people feel like they're part of this like movement or whatever in regards to Bitcoin, which is a more active, more lively, and more ambitious and spearheading movement than you could say Monero, I don't think that. I think Monero is the biggest deal ever. But I think there is a particular social investment which is had by a lot of people in the Twitter sphere and just in the social sphere regarding this stuff, the crypto sphere, whatever. It's a little bit more against the grain to just advocate for private cryptos, which I guess have a reputation for being dark money and used by the Jose Sanchez's of the world, right, on the dark webs. But they'll figure it out. I'm telling you guys, it's going to be like a sea change when this happens. Like, there's going to be a couple influential people who say, hey, Monero, I'm just going to go with Monero. Bitcoin was nice for a while. I got my tendies, but I think this is where it's at. Like, you get a couple of those people to start talking about Monero, particularly probably when the market cap of Monero starts to go up significantly because more hedge fund people buy this stuff, which we've already started to see hedge fund founders begin to buy Monero. We have a video on that. Go check it out. It's just going to be like a light going off in the Bitcoin bro's head. Like, the lasers that are going outside are going to like be sucked back inside, and all that light is just going to like they're going to have like a huge awakening. And then they're going to put on their shades. Where are my shades? And then the lasers will be gone, and a Monero bro will be born. So it's going to be awesome. And speaking of which, all Monero bros need some Monero gear, don't they? So if you guys want a cool Monero shirt, get it at a discount. Oh, this is bad. Check it out. I love this shirt. You can get it on one of the links in the comment section below for a little bit of a discount at emoneymarch.com. So thank you. What else? Yeah, so he thinks he's going to get like picked up with stuff. We talked about that with the trucker adoption video, and you guys may recall that one of our commanding generals in the Monero Bro Battalion got the truckers to get Monero listed on their website to accept donations. And just think about how many lives we could have saved as a result of that. I mean, this is no joke. I mean, I'm not trying to be hyperbolic or whatever. I'm telling you guys that if people use private crypto to fund political dissident movements instead of public transparent crypto, that's going to really call a lot of people's attention to many other things, right? And the fact that we could get people to donate to this particular thing, which I didn't necessarily tell people to do, I was just saying, hey, we got people to do it. Isn't it awesome? That is huge. That is huge. So let's go ahead and talk about crypto, Grampy. There's something else I want to say. Lost. So long until the government blacklists / prosecutes anyone who touches those non-fungible Bitcoin surveillance tokens that were donated through Tallycoin app. Oh, I think he was responding to something maybe. Oh, he says, so how long until those Bitcoins are blacklisted? Who knows? But he says, did anyone even bother to give the truckers the 8,000-page Bitcoin privacy tome guide or are going straight to Coinbase? Right. So, again, you think your average trucker is going to look into how to do this stuff privately? I don't think so. Which is why Zaptosis really did us all a good favor by getting the truckers to adopt Monero, right? And I expect, as we go into the future, Monero donating to, whether it's political dissident causes or just political causes, I think it's going to become a bigger thing. Now, again, this could be used for good and evil. Remember, guys, we're talking about technology. None of what we're talking about in regards to Monero is somehow a moral good. I'm not trying to sell you on a bunch of crap that people like Michael Saylor and others talk about, how, this crypto movement is some kind of like moral initiative, bro, and we're going to save the world. It's like, no, this stuff could be used for good. It could be used for evil. Like, think about it. If Monero were to become popularized, dude, politics would be over. You'd never have democracy again. Like, it'd be so easy to donate or to just bribe any politician. You just throw some Monero on a flash drive, a hard drive, and you just give it to the politician behind closed doors. Boom. The easiest and most secret bribe ever done was just done. Okay, and then they'll do whatever you want. So democracy would be pretty much dead. Politics would cease to have any meaning unless you just went back to a monarchy, which I think would be nice. I think a monarchy is a little bit better than democracy. We could have debates about that, but there's more of like a class consciousness. It's like, okay, we are the people who are being ruled by you. We admit and we accept that we don't have any kind of participation in the establishment of this government. So you better not screw up, because it's all on you. And if you screw up, we're not going to say, oh, it's our fault. Oh, we should have voted harder. It's on you. And so we're going to come take you out. And so that consciousness is there. But with the democracy, you have so many fools who think, oh, well, man, we just voted for the wrong guy. Better luck next 4 years. And so it's sort of like a masochistic self-hating thing where it's like, oh, our government sucks, man. That means we must suck. It's like, no, your government is just filled with a bunch of corrupt kleptocrats, right, who got in there because they were given dark money by who knows who. And that's going to continue into the future if Monero starts to get popularized. So don't think like this is all going to be a good thing. It can be used for good and evil. We're trying to use it for good. But, yeah, I think this trucker protest was the first major protest that took Monero of many. And it's going to become more instrumental. Excuse me. Sorry I'm burping. I've been sick over the last couple of days. I had some Zaxby's. And I should have asked what kind of special signature sandwich it was. By the way, this is important to go over too. Thank you for No Gods, No Masters for posting this. He said this is why we need Monero. If you guys don't remember No Gods, No Masters, he's one of the new Monero Bros in the Monero Bro Battalion. He actually shifted from Bitcoin Cash to Monero. We made a video on that. So he had commented on how the Give, Send, Go donors were doxxed. Everyone who had donated to the cause are now ousted. Okay, and just imagine your employer finds this stuff. Maybe people in your family find this stuff. You have differences in your family for whatever reason, right? Or just you don't know. You don't know. Just the wrong person finds this information. You could get in trouble, right? You could get in some trouble, and who knows if these people are going to get caught up in some like new. What's the date? February, Valentine's Day trucker massacre, however they word this or advertise this, right? With the whole January 6th thing, you guys remember, a lot of people got pulled into that you wouldn't have expected to get pulled into that. They cast that net really wide. I mean, Fuentes got involved in that. And by the way, Fuentes, in his January 6th Select Committee statement that got him dragged into this, they had mentioned his Bitcoin transactions. Do you guys remember that? Okay, and so could these people get linked into that? Could other Bitcoin donors get linked into this because they are able to have their identities uncovered through that means as well, as this person had commented on earlier? Something to note. So what are the Bitcoin bros doing in response to this? Well, it's kind of funny, right? They're saying we need to go to politicians in order to stop politicians from doing what the Canadian politicians did. So they introduced a new act, a new political initiative, oh boy, called the Keep Your Coins Act. And it was introduced by Warren Davidson as a response to what's happening in Canada. So it's kind of funny, right? It's just kind of funny. It's like, the government's evil. The government is just going to do what it wants. It's totally bought and paid for. And yet, instead of maybe amending your code to be more private, you're going to go to the government and say, hey, you know what? We don't like what you're doing. How about we get a new bill in so you don't do what we all expect you to do, which would be bad for our currency, and destroy our attendees. Like, why don't you guys work on a political solution rather than us just buying Monero, is basically what I'm trying to say, that they're saying. Because the Keep Your Coins Act, why would you need to worry about keeping your coins if nobody knows you have the coins in the first place, right? Like, that's the whole idea of a stealth address. Don't keep your coins on exchanges. Don't keep your coins in custody at any bank, which they're now making the Bitcoin bros in Russia do, which the Bitcoin bros around the world loved and cheered on. Yeah, Russia's adopting Bitcoin, except you're going to have custody wallets. And if you do peer-to-peer, you're going to have to do it peer-to-peer through a bank. And you're going to have to, disclose pretty much every single thing you do with crypto to the government and to law enforcement and to the taxing authorities and everything like that. Like, the Monero community is just taking such a different path to this. It's just like, yeah, our code's pretty good. Let's transact. And then somebody's like, hey, bro, but the government's like, wait, what? What's that? You said something about the government? Oh, is that still a thing? And so, again, I'm not advocating anyone do anything illegal, but I'm just saying, like, that's not the ethos, right? And it doesn't need to be the ethos because we don't have a transparent system that can be scrutinized by such government entities. And people who take part of that transparent system, they don't need to. Like, here's one thing I want you guys to consider, okay? I'm a tax accountant. I work in a field which essentially assuages the concerns of people who are worried about the IRS. We're looking into the situation, auditing them, charging them money, and everything like that. That's pretty much what I do. A lot of people they just file their own taxes. It's actually not that hard. But the thing is, people want somebody like me to do it just to make sure they do it right. And just make sure that they don't have to worry about the government, which has endless amounts of money, endless amounts of guns, and capacities to basically ruin their lives, to come after them. So if you look at just the anxiety assuaging industry throughout the world, and it's just growing exponential now that we're becoming ever more anxious as a society. It's just like, oh, don't worry about your body size. Feel good about whatever you look like. Big is beautiful. That's a whole industry. And then, you got the, legalized substance industries. The drug industry as a whole is sort of one of those industries as well. I mean, if you're adding all that up, if you're adding up the amount of money people spend on limiting their anxieties, it's literally like hundreds of billions of dollars. Seriously. And so if you're going to be worried about a growing technocratic, panopticonical police state arising in your country, similar to what is happening in Canada, evidently, well, what's one way that you can just assuage that anxiety of being tracked and traced and, falsely accused of things? You can just use Monero, right? And Monero only has a market cap of, $3 billion. And the use cases of Monero are going exponential. Transaction volumes are going exponential. I mean, seriously, I can't say enough bullish things about Monero. You could watch the hundreds of videos that we've made. We probably make a new bullish point in every single video. It's ridiculous. But it assuages your anxiety, right? Like, if you are somebody who donates a Bitcoin or Cardano or Ethereum to this trucker protest, you could be sweating a little bit. When you don't have to. You could have just donated Monero. We did that work for you. Zapdosis specifically. And so, yeah, I mean, just think about that. That's a new reason to buy this stuff. Cypherpunk co-founder Tim May in 1992 predicted this Trudeauian future. So he talks about, in this 1992 manifesto of sorts, transactions which are deemed to be politically incorrect, and there are dozens of obvious examples to choose from, can be outlawed. That was said in 1992. I often say we're ahead of the curve, but whoa, we got to give it up to this guy. So that's pretty cool. And we're going to start to wrap it up. Seth for Prophecy says the only way tools like Bitcoin and Monero work in a corrupt nation or world. And guys, it's not going to get any better, okay? You got to give up this hope that crypto is going to solve the inherent corruption in the world. It could actually make it worse, as we talked about. And there are so many other factors at play which only guarantee in my opinion, that's going to get more corrupt, which means the case for Monero is just going to get more bullish, right? But he says the only way these things work is if we build parallel and circular economies around them. And that's what we do on Monero Marketing Mondays. Make sure you tune in, check it out. We cannot rely on fiat on-ramps and off-ramps. And if we can't spend it without government's approval, it's useless. Build circular economies. So that's super key. I think that's totally right. And I would just encourage you guys to continue to write into me about your particular business that you're opening up. There's one of you guys who emailed me. We're in correspondences. You had actually linked a book to help me quit smoking. So thank you for that. I had one more pack since the last time I said I was going to quit, but I think I'm actually going to do it this time. 20th time a charm, right? But yeah, thank you. You had said that you're going to be opening up a business, which is very promising. I want to hear more about that. I still have yet to get back to you, so forgive me. But if you have a business that you transact any private crypto, Monero, Pirate Chain, Concealed Network, even whatever, get in touch with me. I'm interested to hear about it because I want to give you guys shout outs and I want to give cred to those who are doing the work in the trenches on the ground. So I think that's it. And here's Bitcoin Bro Zero Hedge, which pumps Bitcoin pretty much every day. I mean, just imagine this, right? After everything that we just talked about, they say martial law in Canada, it's never been riskier not to own Bitcoin. I'm sorry, I just don't agree. Let me know if you disagree. I think the split between Bitcoin and Monero is just going to get more pronounced, in my opinion. And we're going to start to see some people move and switch sides, just like the Bitcoin Cash Bro we talked about here. Let's see, where'd you go? Just like this guy. Just like the Bitcoin Cash Bros are coming to Monero, more Bitcoin Bros are going to come to Monero too. But that's it. A little short video on the updates. There's some more things to talk about too. There's a concern about a 50% attack happening for Monero because of the concentration of the mining pools. I don't know too much about that. I don't really worry about that, but I think it's now down to 35% in that pool. So that's a crisis which has been averted, as far as I can understand. Some people thought it was a purposeful attack because the hash rate for that one pool, which was the leading pool, I think it was like XMR Rig or something like that, had gone up 10% in a matter of weeks, which is quite a lot. People say it's because of botnets and things like this. I don't know. I'm not a miner bro. But I want to talk about that. That seems to not be an issue anymore, though. So many things to talk about. We'll talk about it, but it is tax season, so you guys will have to be patient with me because I'm working my tail off. It's just getting wild out there. But, yep, Monero Matteo, that's about it. Check out the donation links below if you want to help support the channel. Check me out on Patreon if you want to go support me over there. Check out the social media links, Gab, Twitter, Odyssey especially. We love Odyssey. They just did an update recently. Looks really good over there. It's working a lot faster. I like it a lot. So we're going to be posting there too. And that's it. Monero Matteo. See you guys next time. Bye.